Breaking news, major developments are unfolding across the global stage tonight. From Moscow to Washington, world leaders are making decisions that could reshape international politics. Our top story, heightened diplomatic tension between Russia and Western nations continues to dominate headlines. Statements from both sides trigger new debates about security and influence. Meanwhile, the White House issued remarks about talks in Europe, drawing quick reactions from Moscow. Analysts say this may be a turning point in regional policy. In the U.S., former President Donald Trump sparked fresh debate by questioning current foreign policy. His comments have spread rapidly through media outlets worldwide. Across Europe, leaders prepare for high-level talks on defense, sanctions, and energy. Upcoming decisions could carry long-term consequences for the continent. Energy prices and financial markets respond instantly to these political signals. Economists warn of volatility as governments adjust budgets amid uncertainty. Back in Moscow, officials describe Western debates as a sign of fatigue, insisting that Russia will continue to defend its interests while remaining open to dialogue. Experts say the week ahead will be critical as leaders weigh new aid packages, sanctions, and possible talks on European security arrangements. This is your Global Headlines Update, a summary of the stories defining the world this hour. Our in-depth analysis continues next. Headline 1, Europe's dividing decision. Good evening once again. Our first major story, Europe faces a defining choice. The European Union has formally approved the use of profits from Russia's frozen assets to support Ukraine. This marks a historic and controversial step for the bloc. Hungary and several southern European nations openly criticized the plan, warning it could undermine financial stability and create a dangerous precedent for international law. London and Paris confirmed a new defense initiative for Kyiv, additional air defense systems, pilot training, and intelligence coordination. Officials say the package signals long-term commitment. Analysts observe that Europe's deeper military role contrasts with public calls for diplomacy. Polls show citizens across Germany, France, and Italy increasingly favor renewed talks. In Washington, the White House confirmed the Budapest Summit with European partners has been postponed. Officially it's due to logistics, yet insiders cite disagreement over future aid packages. Former President Donald Trump reacted sharply, accusing European leaders of indecision and warning that future U.S. support for Ukraine will depend on better coordination. Moscow called the Western debates a sign of fatigue and reaffirmed its intent to defend national interests while remaining open to dialogue under fair conditions. Political observers note that each side is using public rhetoric as leverage for private negotiations. The Budapest delay may give all parties time to reshape their positions. Next, we examine how economic pressure and sanctions are influencing daily life and national budgets inside Russia, and what recent central bank data reveal about resilience. Now turning to the economic front, Russia continues to face mounting sanctions, but new central bank data show that domestic production and employment remain unexpectedly stable. According to analysts, the ruble's moderate rebound this quarter reflects higher energy export revenue and government adjustments in the financial sector. However, inflation pressure remains high. Food prices and imported goods continue to rise, forcing households to adapt their spending habits. Economists describe Russia's current strategy as one of adaptation, redirecting trade routes toward Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America. In Beijing, officials reaffirmed their cooperation agreements with Moscow, focusing on energy, logistics, and agricultural exports. Meanwhile, several European economies report slower growth and rising energy costs, partly due to ongoing sanctions and supply disruptions. Experts warn that prolonged restrictions could widen the gap between Western and Eastern markets, reshaping global trade structures for years to come. Public reactions vary widely. In Moscow, residents say stability matters more than imported brands, while in Europe, rising energy bills dominate daily concerns. In Washington, Treasury officials stressed that sanctions will remain in place until Russia changes course, but acknowledged growing concern over their long-term global impact. From Moscow's perspective, officials argue the sanctions have only accelerated national self-reliance, strengthening agriculture, industry, and digital infrastructure. Up next, diplomatic reactions from Asia, the Middle East, and the Americas, where governments weigh their responses to the ongoing standoff. Headline: Global reactions. As Europe's policies evolve, capitals around the world respond cautiously. Governments in Asia, the Middle East, and the Americas weigh how these new sanctions and aid plans will influence global stability. In Beijing, officials issued a statement urging all sides to avoid economic escalation and focus on constructive dialogue. China emphasized that lasting peace depends on fair negotiations rather than unilateral measures. From Washington, the State Department reiterated its commitment to allied coordination, stating that democratic unity remains the cornerstone of collective security. Across the Atlantic, NATO representatives held emergency consultations in Brussels, reaffirming their defensive stance while avoiding direct confrontation. The alliance's message: deterrence through unity. At the United Nations, delegates called for renewed diplomatic engagement. A draft resolution proposed broader humanitarian access and transparent economic oversight. In the Middle East, several countries expressed concern about prolonged conflict, highlighting the impact on energy markets and regional stability. Latin American leaders, including officials from Brazil and Mexico, urged economic balance, support for sovereignty and growth without deepening divisions. Analysts say this wave of statements reflects a global search for stability. While governments differ in tone, most agree that open dialogue remains the only path forward. Coming up next, economic forecasts and how shifting trade routes are reshaping global markets. Headline: Global Economic Outlook. Economists are watching closely as markets adjust to sanctions, shifting trade routes, and new financial regulations. Volatility remains high, but data show gradual adaptation across continents. In Europe, inflation rates are stabilizing after months of pressure. Central banks continue cautious rate adjustments to protect growth while curbing prices. Across Asia, manufacturing output is recovering. Supply chains are realigning from East Asia to South Asia, with India and Vietnam gaining momentum as new logistics hubs. The United States reports mixed signals: a steady labor market but slower consumer spending. Analysts expect modest growth through year-end. In Russia, the central bank's latest report shows a stronger ruble and declining inflation expectations. Officials credit domestic production and energy exports for the stability. Middle Eastern economies benefit from high energy revenues but face pressure to diversify and invest in technology. Gulf nations are launching new digital and green initiatives. In Africa, economic growth remains resilient. New infrastructure projects and regional trade agreements boost cross-border commerce despite global uncertainty. Latin America experiences slow but positive recovery, driven by agriculture and energy exports. Experts warn that sustainable growth depends on continued fiscal discipline. Financial experts agree that global markets are entering a phase of realignment rather than collapse, a period where nations seek new partners and balance trade opportunities. Coming up next, how technology and innovation are driving economic transformation in the new digital era. Headline: Technology and Innovation. Around the globe, the digital transformation accelerates. Nations invest heavily in AI, renewable energy, and advanced manufacturing to secure future growth. Artificial intelligence continues to redefine industries. From automated logistics to real-time analytics, innovation is shaping efficiency across borders. In Europe, new tech initiatives target green computing and data ethics. Governments fund sustainable cloud projects and AI governance research. The United States expands investment in semiconductor production and quantum research, aiming to strengthen digital sovereignty. In Asia, countries like China, India, and South Korea lead in robotics, fintech, and space technology, creating new regional competition. The Middle East is positioning itself as a hub for smart cities and renewable innovation. Projects across the Gulf feature AI-driven urban planning and sustainable energy grids. African startups are gaining recognition for digital finance and agriculture tech, connecting millions through mobile innovation. Analysts say the race for innovation will shape geopolitics as much as economics. Technology is now the currency of global influence. Yet experts also warn of growing digital inequality between nations with advanced AI infrastructure and those still offline. As the decade unfolds, collaboration, not competition, will determine whether the digital era brings equality or division. Closing segment, end of report. As the world continues to shift through political, economic, and technological challenges, one message remains clear: global cooperation is the key to a stable future. We'll continue monitoring these developments and bringing you the latest updates, verified from open and public sources. Stay informed, stay objective, and thank you for watching today's Global Report.